I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Sandstone. I'm so happy that you're here.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Eric. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, now, for folks who don't know, please introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Sandstone. I'm your filthy chaotic cat detective VTuber. I'm known for my chaotic streams and the wacky things I say, and I'm also an artist part-time.
Well, and what an artist. We're going to talk about that for sure, because Sandstone says artist. You put capital letters on that, so we'll talk about that in a bit, because it's really amazing. So you, and also, if you haven't gotten a hold of Sandstone's Twitter account,
oh boy, you're in for a treat.
and that as she skips back and forth between Twitter accounts.
Oh yeah, that whole mess.
It's just amazing. I've wanted to have Sandstone on since we got started, because I just think you got so many things going on. Your strength in getting through them is absolutely amazing to me.
Thank you.
And the fact that you still work toward entertaining folks when, let's face it, you haven't been given exactly a great hand to deal with at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how much you want to share about that, but
no, I'm pretty open about it. So ask away.
Yeah, you have a few health conditions that are keeping you from doing a lot of the things that a lot of people do. Not the worst, which is having you can't hardly stand up sometimes.
Yeah, I have POTS, which affects my heart and my blood. So when I stand up, the blood for normal people, like, it rushes through their body and then it goes back up to their brain. My blood doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like less blood in my brain when I stand or sit up than the normal person. And of course that makes me feel sick and nauseous and all this other stuff. So I can't really sit up or stand for long periods. I have to like take breaks or lay down and things like that. Mm-hmm. So like sitting at a desk and streaming, can be difficult sometimes.
Dizziness, I imagine, vertigo type of things too. I would think would come with that. Am I right?
Oh yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. I'm an old man, so that comes naturally. but
that's just part of getting older, so you get it.
Yeah, but nothing like what you're dealing with, and the fact that you're still willing to come on and entertain people and get online, and even though you're going through that and pain and everything else, is absolutely amazing to me.
Thank you. I've always just liked making people smile and making people laugh, and streaming was a way that I could reach the most people to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I really did took a liking to it.
Yeah, and it's taken a liking to you too, because I think that the medium is great for you. I mean, it's kind of perfect for you. You're able to do this.
For sure.
And not only that, go ahead.
I think it's more entertaining, to see not a person, with medical equipment around. No shade to people who need that, of course, but with people like me who have these conditions, who might need to rely on things like that, mm-hmm. it provides an artistic way to present ourselves, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you get to blossom where you maybe weren't able to before, and
mm-hmm.
and to 100%. Me, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me it sounds like that when you're up and active, and when you go, you're really up and out. You've got a lot of energy to get rid of.
Oh yeah. I have ADHD. I'm a very hyper person. Mm-hmm. And so I make sure to save all of that for my streams. Well, I don't really like streaming when I'm not at my best.
Yeah, and have ADHD and the condition that you have where you can't, where it's tough for you to stand up. That's like fire and ice there. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how it gets along in your body and mind. It really can't be easy at all.
Yeah, I found ways to help though, like drawing really helps. It's very therapeutic for
Hmm.
me. So like if I have too much energy, in bed, I'll either just roll around a lot, basically, um, or I'll just start drawing, and that helps a lot. It helps
Yeah.
get that creative energy out.
When I do that, the wife kicks me, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
definitely only good if you have like a spare bed or something.
Yes, yes. I'm talking about drawing. That's how bad I am at it. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's that. But see, when we talk about the Sandstone's art, it's far beyond drawing. You've got these crystal art things that you do. We're going to have links up to where you can get to them in the description for the interview. When did you get started in this type of art?
Oh, I don't know if I have an exact answer to that question. It's a kind of a long story. Do you mind
Oh,
if I dive a little deep? Because it kind of has roots to when I was a kid, actually.
yeah.
Um, when I was a kid, I went to a Catholic school, and they would make us go to church and whatnot. And
Mm,
because of my ADHD, instead of paying attention, I would look at the stained glass windows all day
mm,
because I just thought they were so pretty. And growing up, I always just liked stained glass windows, and I was interested in photography. And I noticed when I was in my photography phase, I would always take pictures of things like with water or with glass, like things that reflected a lot.
mm-hmm.
Um, and eventually, when I got to drawing and I kept doing it, eventually, once I got into digital art, I realized that like I figured out a way to make things look crystal-like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because of my obsession with the stained glass, I was like, well, how do I make it look like stained glass? And that's just kind of how it happened.
Yeah, it's really amazing, folks. You got to check out see what Sandstone's doing with this because the effect is very um, realistic. It's like you took the pieces and made them yourself. Assembled them in front of you and glued them down, and then went from there. That's the skill is very obviously there. Was it something that you were able to pick up quickly, or did you have to learn and throw a couple things out in the meantime?
I think it was a bit of both because I just had done photography and just liked the look of stained glass. I think it was just easier for me to pick up in that regard because it was kind of an obsession of mine. But I looked up a lot of art tutorials of like how to on reflections and how to make things look see-through and things like that.
Mm. So you basically all of this is self taught.
Yes, I'm a self-taught artist
Ah,
entirely.
good gravy. All this stuff you're able to do. The talent is really something else. Now on the YouTube gaming side, you do interact with your chat.
Oh yes, I that's a big thing for me. I'm always chatting with my chat. I
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
yeah, and no matter what the games you're playing, you're interactive with them, and for someone who can't get around so much, how important is that for you to have that sort of interaction?
It actually really helped me. Before I got diagnosed and we didn't know what was wrong, all we knew was that, something was wrong.
Hmm.
It really helped me because it made me forget that I was sick for a while.
Hmm.
Because I could interact with people like a normal person and not always worry if I was going to get sick, like, in the next few minutes because I had a bed to lie down.
Right.
Um, and now that I'm diagnosed, it really helps a lot because when I do go out, I can't actually go out by myself. I have to have someone with me
Oh
in
yeah.
case of a medical emergency. So streaming provides me some privacy where I can interact with people, by myself, like an adult.
Right.
And I think that's been really healing for me.
That's a that's an interesting turn of phrase you use because if you took it out of context, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You said it was a privacy issue where you interact with people, which
Hmm.
but if you take it on the surface means two different completely things. I mean, opposites. But the fact is, you're private in that you're by yourself. You don't have to rely on anybody else to be with you while you're talking to other people and forming some sort of bond online. It does make perfect
Mhm.
sense. And how important is that to you?
I didn't realize, I think, how important that is to be able to do things like by yourself until I got sick.
Mm.
Because I wasn't born with this condition, so I was fairly normal for many, many years. And I say normal as in like healthy, not as in,
I,
but
you said fairly normal. I'm like, yeah, yeah, fairly normal.
yeah. um, and when that was gone, I realized how hard that can be because regular people can, if they want to go to the store, they just go to the store.
Right.
They can just go whenever they want. It's entirely up to them. But with me, I have to think about the weather because the weather affects me. I have to make sure the people who watch over me can go with me. It's like, it turns into a checklist of things that need to align. And it can't be on a day where I feel bad.
Uh,
It has to be a day where I took my meds and all of that. I need to be hydrated. So it's like a checklist. I recently went to the zoo with my partner and we had to plan it weeks in advance
mm,
because there are just so many things that have to line up for me to be able to do regular things.
yeah, yeah, and
And
so
you
many
don't
variables.
realize how crazy that sounds when, you're just going about your day like a regular person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's got things to go through, but you've got more than one checklist you have to deal with, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and that doesn't even count the random things that can happen, which you can't plan for. Um,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit if you don't mind. We've been trying to schedule something for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah, and things have just been so crazy, and I'm finally glad that I was able to sit down and have this chat with you.
I am too, and but the patience that you've shown has been amazing. But you've had to have patience to
Oh
do
yeah.
anything at this point. To me, uh, even for someone as bouncy off the walls as you are sometimes, uh, that's pretty amazing. I mean, how do you do that without absolutely losing it?
I lost it a lot in the beginning, not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was just like up I was losing my mind
Mm,
because it was a whole world view change,
mm,
at that point in time. And I've just learned that I just can't be upset or angry. I don't have the energy to spend on that. So I've really had to actually learn how to slow down a lot and just like accept what my body's telling me. And a lot of times that means the day of I have to text people. I'm like, I can't today. I
mm.
can't do, even if we plan things like months in advance. And I feel bad, but I've learned that I need to prioritize myself.
Absolutely.
And that took a lot of patience and I used to sacrifice myself a lot though. I'd be like, no, I'm just going to push through it. And I quickly learned that that will have worse consequences for me.
Oh yeah. And first of all, you wouldn't be at 100% in doing what you wanted to do. You'd feel bad, and then you'd have the effects afterward of that, because I imagine anything you do now affects later and magnifies things. Uh,
Oh yeah.
it's very tough for people to empathize with that, and empathy isn't exactly in big store anyway in this world at this
Hmm.
moment. I'll get off my soapbox now, but the has that made it extra tough for you to just get around and get along?
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. I'm very lucky in the sense that I have really really good friends and most of my family is very very supportive and that helped a lot. But um I don't mean to I wouldn't say this is political, but I didn't realize how tough it is to be disabled until I actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I didn't realize all the things that come with that is a major lack of empathy because most people don't. wake up wondering how they're going to feel in the next few minutes, you know?
Oh yeah.
They don't have to worry about planning the huge checklist just to leave the house. And so it's not that people are uncaring. I think that there are a lot of people that care. I just think they have a hard time comprehending that
Hmm.
of what our days are so different in terms of how we think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very good way to put it. Um, I haven't mentioned this either, but about 8 years ago, I pretty much lost the ability to walk. Um, I was attacked by psoriatic arthritis, which is very painful. And for a day or so, I was down to a wheelchair. And used a walker for a good period of time. That's not anywhere near what you've gone through, but
Yeah,
it's
I'm so sorry you went through that. That's
I
awful.
I came out the other end, and now I've got an excuse not to run. Um,
It's very true.
yes, but the fact is, now that you once you go through something like that and try to go to the store with a walker and try to fill up a cart, yeah, that's not happening. And
Oh yeah.
so many things you have to go through just day to day living. It does make you uh, appreciate more what you're able to do.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
and certainly thank thanks to the big guy for that, for letting me get through that for the most part. But the once that does hit you, that now you're in a situation where your life is changing without your input, you have to adapt. When did you get that realization?
Um, I actually got it during my diagnosis test, the tilt table test for POTS, which is where they strap you to a table and then they tilt the table so your body weight is forced to stand up and you're
Ooh.
strapped so you can't fall or anything.
Ooh.
And yeah, and halfway through the test, by the way, I like to point out I have never forfeited a medical test in my life. I had to stop the test at 20 minutes. They want you to go for 45, and
Yeah.
I begged them to stop the test because I was in too much pain.
Oh.
But halfway through that, the doctor came up to me and we could hear my heartbeat because they monitor that. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Do you hear a heartbeat?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty fast." And it's been fast for like 10 minutes.
Mm.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's not a good sign." And I was like, "POTS?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he like walked to the computer and the test resumed. And that's kind of when it hit me. I was like, "Oh, this isn't going away."
Yeah.
That was the it moment for me.
Yeah. And there might be some things that you can do to keep it from happening too much, but you didn't have input on this. It just happens. Um,
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing.
mhm. But the fact is, you have continued to have the strength to plow through. Um, you have your down moments, but you also have a lot of up moments, and the fact that you're willing to share those with people is pretty amazing,
Thank you.
and entertain people because folks, you have to. I can't find the right words, but you have to check out what a Sandstone does online, and check out the links we're going to put in because it's don't take this the wrong way, but you're pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, no, thank you. I'm proud of that. I wear it like a badge.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of fun, and it really it really is very entertaining. What do you want to do with the channel? Do you have any goals with it, or are you just having fun with it?
um, I'm honestly just having fun with it. I never really wanted streaming to be a career. It was always just kind of a thing I did for fun. And
Mm,
then when I got sick, it was a way for me to communicate with people.
mm,
Um, but I honestly just do it for fun. I don't do it for the numbers. I don't even worry about it. I don't even look at my numbers,
mm,
believe it or not. I don't even look at them. Um, and I just do it for fun because I like making people laugh.
yeah, and people will enjoy themselves, and if you check it out, again, the links are going to be in the description. So once you're
If
on,
I did, if
go,
I did have a goal though, it would be merch.
yeah.
I think even one shirt, even just one, I'd be content. One hat.
Well, you got a lot of time yet, so that
Oh yeah.
that could definitely happen. Um, on the channel right now, what are you doing with it? What are you playing?
A lot of Honkai Star Rail. I've
Mm.
gotten obsessed with that, and I say that as someone who hates gotcha games.
Yeah, that's it. You hate them so much, you're playing it constantly.
Oh yeah, for real. Um, and I really got to continue my Persona 5 hard mode playthrough. I really got to get back on that grind.
Yeah, it's but once one of those games, one of the gotcha games, gotcha, they get you. That's
Oh yeah, for sure.
and
I haven't spent money on it yet though. I'm not entirely lost.
but the temptation is there.
Oh yeah, if I don't get a Black Swan, then maybe.
Well, that's the fact is the game is enticing enough for you to do it.
Exactly.
And
And it's actually enjoyable. I think the game Honkai Star Rail specifically is a good game. I
yeah,
don't know about the other gotcha games, don't ask me.
yeah, yeah. Don't get her started on them for crying out loud.
Oh yeah, oh boy. Hyoverse will never hire me to do an ad if I go off.
So, what have you been able to do that since you started this the VTuber thing, being online more? What have you been able to do that you
Um
didn't know that you've been able to do?
um make I've made so many amazing friends doing this that
Mhm.
I can now say are some of like my best friends ever. They're just awesome people. I think that the VTuber community kind of like says that they're all bad and there's always something going on, but I've hands down met some of the best people for me that I could have met.
Hmm.
And I think that that was really great and I'm really happy that I did that.
Yeah.
Um I also think that my tolerance for bullshit has gone way up. Like, because
Yeah.
like when you're younger, you feel the need to speak up about every little thing and say your opinion.
Hmm.
But now I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, I just want to play my video games. I don't care what they're doing.
Mm. Now, then you do your shit posting later.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, what's hard about this? I'm just gonna tweet about this funny cat I found.
And folks, you really do have to hook up with the Twitter accounts. It
Real,
yeah,
very true.
it's just unhinged.
Be careful for the 1 a.m. tweets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm
I
always
always tell people that one of my first pieces of merch, I just want it to be a hoodie or something, and all it is, not even a picture of me. I just want quotes of things I've said on Twitter over the years. Just hundreds of quotes.
and they're out there, folks.
Oh yeah, I leave all them up.
Yeah. It's really something. And let's take a look at something here. If given the situation that you're in, physically, mentally, what would you have done 20 years ago?
Hmm, that's a hard question.
Mm.
If I wasn't in the situation I was in, I was actually on track
Hmm.
to be a psychologist researcher. I was in an advanced program for
Hmm.
psychology, and the year before, I had done my own scientific study on California tiger salamanders.
Hmm.
Um, I was getting college credits. I was working with mentors in the field,
Right.
and that was my dream.
Hmm.
Obviously, that quickly changed when I got sick.
Right.
I still want to do that, and the hope that I'll be able to do that someday. It's not entirely impossible, but I am working on background stuff in case that doesn't work out, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
if you had this situation now, health wise, 20 years ago, would there have been an outlet for you?
I think 20 years ago, I think I would have done the same thing.
Mm.
I mean, VTubing wasn't big 20 years ago, but Um, I always actually I had dabbed in streaming before VTubing became a thing, and I didn't like showing my face and things like that. So when VTubing came around, I was like, this is just what I wanted. This is perfect. So honestly, I think I would have done everything the same.
No, well,
Maybe started sooner if I could.
well, you didn't know that's necessarily what it entailed, I imagined, and
Of
but
course.
but was it comfortable for you when you turned the microphone on VTubing the first time? I mean, was it very easy for you to get into it?
Um, yes and no. It was easy because I had a goal, which was just to make people laugh. That part was easy, but the hard part was because when you start streaming and you start like researching streaming, every article you'll ever see is like you got to be different, you got to be this or you got to be that, you have to stand out, there's pressure, this is an idol industry, and there's a lot of pressure to be perfect 100% of the time.
Mm.
And I'm not a fan of idol culture. So after I stopped like doing that, it was a lot easier for me.
Mm.
I stopped kind of applying the rules of VTubing to myself, and I think that helped me a lot.
No rules apply to Sandstone.
Oh yeah, no. I write my own crazy rules that have nothing to do with rules.
In every dimension.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's I hate to overuse the term because it sounds like I'm fanboying or something, but I'm really amazed at the strength and attitude you've shown given everything that's happened to you.
Thank you.
Uh, where does that come from?
Um Stubbornness. A
Hmm?
lot of stubbornness, to be honest. I like I've been stubborn my whole life like about certain things, and one of the things that I was very stubborn about is that I never wanted to be seen as weak for being sick. Cuz I think that a lot of media portrays people like me as like people who need 24-hour care, or that we can't speak up for ourselves, or
Right.
that we're a burden in some way. And I was very adamant that I didn't need that. In fact, I was kind of ableist towards myself in the beginning.
Hmm.
Like, I would walk into the kitchen, I'd be like, I don't need my cane. I'm a big girl. I can walk to the kitchen. And then I'd get really dizzy and I'd be like, oh
Yeah, yeah, that
no.
happens.
Like, even when I got my cane, I insisted that if I was going to get a cane, it was going to be a nice one. So now I have my nice wood carved one and not an old person cane.
Yeah, well,
I
those are
was very adamant about that.
hey, there's fashion. There's fashion. You can get good fashionable stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, but now.
So I when I was streaming, a lot of the reason why I put so much focus into my high energy too is because I think that just by doing that, people will see that people like me, we don't stop being people just because we're sick.
Mm.
And we're not like coma patients. We can talk for ourselves. We can do some things for ourselves. And I think that that's really important to remember,
Hmm.
that we're people just like anybody else.
You said people like me, Sandstone, but there is no person like you.
That's very true. That's
There-
very true. We're all
there's
individuals.
you are a light on unto yourself, and the fact that you're willing to share that with everybody else is a boon to everyone. Um,
Thank you.
I really do appreciate all the effort that it's taken you to come in and talk with me here. I want to do it again because we've got a lot of stuff to go over still.
Of course.
And whenever the moons align and we're
Of course.
able to get it, we'll do it again. And then anytime you got some stuff coming up, let me know. We'll promote it for you. But um, just keep going. What you're doing. Just the fact that you're doing it is an inspiration to a lot of people. Um, and I wish you absolutely nothing but the best while doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I wish the best and everything for you too as well, Eric.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.